طيب, we'll start إن شاء الله تعالى. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. طيب. Continuing our class, Maqasid al-Sharia al-Islami. We have order, inshallah. We will have by next week. Those who don't have books, we order this, inshallah. Hopefully we can get them by next week, inshallah. Or the week after. But we have ordered them, alhamdulillah. We started the chapter الصفة الضابطة للمقاصد الشرعية. The high objective, the intent of the Islamic Sharia we said in the intent of the Sharia there's some of them have ma'ani haqiqiyya, I mean true meaning, and others are urfiyya. Urfiyya is like more coming from the tradition. But when we're talking about what are the conditions of a principle or an intent to be considered principle of Sharia, principle like, intent as we call it here, Maqsad. And again, the Maqsad is kind of spirit that it runs in the whole laws of the Sharia, which is mean like something, an objective. In every law of the Sharia, you find this objective, in this law, in all the laws. Therefore, for this objective, which run in all the spirit, in the soul of the Sharia, if you can say that, it requires shurut. It requires how this principle, what are the conditions that this principle need to fulfill. And this is what we started last time. قال أن يكون ثابتا ظاهرا منضبطا مطردا. أن يكون الله يحفظك جزاكم الله خير الله يكرمك. قال both kind must be certain, evident, regular, and constant. And this is in chapter 9, page 71. Chapter 9, page 71. We're going to explain one by one. When we're talking about ma'ani haqiqiyya, the meaning of this principle, this objective, when we say haqiqiyya is something like is true, is something that is certain. And when we're talking about in the Sharia, we're talking about things that the whole spirit of the Sharia are based on mainly two principles, which are جلب المصالح ودرء المفاسد. جلب المصالح ودرء المفاسد. What is the meaning of this? جلب المصالح, everything in the Sharia is intending to benefit you, to cause benefit, good. And everything in the Sharia look forward to avoid harm, push away hurt. So those are the main principles. So when we're talking about the true meaning of the objective, they need to certainly confirm this meaning or principle that we talked about. قال أن تكون جالبة بحيث تدرك العقول السليمة ملائمتها للمصلحة أو منافرتها, which is mean like the proper intellect, the sane, he'll understand this is good, this is gonna help you, this certainly. And this type of conceiving doesn't require a law, an external law, to tell you yes, it is good. It comes from the natural thinking and intellect. For example, he gives an example. To conceive that justice is beneficial, is good. Transgression is wrong. So those are ma'ani haqiqiyya, those are true meaning, certain meaning. And to hold and to, to restrict or to punish the transgressor, it is really beneficial for the whole society. So those are true meaning of objectives that we have. And when we're talking about these principles and objective to have a true meaning, and then we define them based on the sane intellect, not like, like thinking or thoughts based on the whims, something that is natural. So in this way, we avoid any type of thinking, the type of thought that they are really irregular way of thinking. Like in the time of Jahiliyyah, people, they adore to transgress. As someone, he said, someone he's reporting, قال وحكم السيف فينا مسلط فنرضى إذا ما أصبح السيف راضيا. Between us is what the judge between us is the sword. If the sword is pleased, we are pleased. That's wrong. This is a شعر قول الشميذر الحارثي من شعراء الحماسة. شعراء الحماسة, this is, to boost the moral and everything. So that's what he's saying. And he is, he has it on 72 actually. The verdict of the sword shall reign supreme on you, and only when the sword is satisfied, we will be satisfied. It's dhulm. What did it mean the sword is satisfied? So this cannot be a way to think of the maqasid. So this is irregular, this is shared, this is off the path. قال سوار بن المضرب السعدي متفخرا وإني لا أزال أخا حروب إذا لم أجن كنت مجن جان, and have always been a brother of wars. If I am not the injurer, I am the shield against the injurer. I mean, it's a way how to put things where they do not belong, really. طيب. المعاني الحرفية, this is our truthful and true meaning that need to be conceived by the right way of the thoughts that are sane and that make sense, The المعاني العرفية, المعاني العرفية. العرفية is from العرف. العرف is from the habit, the tradition. So you find, for example, in a society where they get used to things that are good, and the whole people, they use it to that common way of doing. The Prophet ﷺ قال من سن سنة حسنة, whoever who starts a good conduct, he will have its reward, and the reward of whoever who will do or practice that sunnah. And whoever who starts an ill conduct, he will have its wizard it's sin, and the sin of everyone who does it. So قال كإدراك كون الإحسان معنى ينبغي تعامل الأمة به. In the tradition, when people, they know that doing good to others is the way of conduct, is the way of the behavior, and that's how the relationship should be established on such way. وكإدراك كون عقوبة الجاني رادعة إياه عن العود إلى مثل جنايته, and also conceiving and knowing and practicing that the fact to punish a criminal or someone who violated rights, that it's going to stop him to not do it again. So this is people, they conceive it and they practice it, and everyone agree upon it. So it becomes like urf. Al-urfu, it's not something that established on a writing or like something that has been revealed. So what commonly people, they get used and they accept it together as something good, and it becomes like some of their tradition, of their urf. It said, in our tradition we do this. As long as this tradition is calls for the two main principles in the beginning, we said that is beneficial for people, bring benefit and maslaha, and avoid harm on them. So this is the urf. قال وقد اشترطت لهذين النوعين الثبوت والظهور والانضباط والإطراد. For this type of principle that coming from the same common sense, and the principle that common or objective from what commonly get people to have it as a behavior or conduct to turn to be a tradition. He said to have them be considered to be intent in the Sharia, high objective in the Sharia. قال, I had put the condition of الثبوت, and here I'm reading in page 72. قال, the universal conventional idea consists of time-tested notions that are familiar to the general public. For both categories of ideas, I have stipulated the properties of certainty, ثبوت, to be certain. الظهور, evidence, to be evident. الانضباط, to have the consistency. And regularity, al-itrad. So when you have this characteristic, so you will be sure that this intent, that what you made an objective, is going to be valid for all the time, for all the space, and is going to be universal, comprehensive, and applies to all the aspects of the life of the human being. So that's why we need it to be thabit. We need it, as he said here, we need it to be certain, evident, consistent, and regular. قال المراد بالثبوت, this to be ثابت, firm, certain, أن تكون تلك المعاني مجزوما بتحقيقها أو مظنونا ظنا قريبا من الجزم. So the ma'ani, the principle that we're talking about are certain. They have the certainty that they are beneficial. الظهور to be evident, you don't need interpretation. You don't need like analysis. It's obvious for everyone. And especially we're talking about the scholars. المراد بالانضباط, constant, to be have the characteristic of to being like constant. It's not going to change based on the time or change based on people. No. والمراد بالإطراد, irregular. So this will not change based on the society or not change based on the time. Some of the aspects might change based on the time or based on certain circumstances, those that cannot be included to be an objective of the Sharia. Here قال فلا تصلح لاعتبارها مقاصد شرعية على الإطلاق ولا لعدم اعتبارها كذلك. But how can we have it to be benefit as an objective of the Sharia? Here we go back to the scholar of the Ummah to look when it is good and when it is not good. For example, the fact to get to battles. This is, we cannot say, oh, this is a great objective of Sharia. Getting in a battle, it's required to have a reason. So the reason for which, is being decided to go to the battle, that's what makes the objective of the Sharia. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال إنما جزاء الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله يسعون في الأرض, those who are fighting the law of Allah and His Messenger and they're spreading mischief in the earth, those, they need to be fought because they're spreading mischief and chaos into the society. طيب. فجعل قتالهم وهو الحراب موجبا للعقاب. Why? Because here we're talking, the reason is mischief, spreading mischief. So the objective here is to stop that mischief. So here, when you go deeper, you find that the main intent, it's not to fight. The main intent is to stop the mischief. Also, the fight can come as a way to correct between groups. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Hujurat, He said, is two groups among the Muslims, they are fighting. So try to correct and make peace between them. But if one of the group go overboard, transgress, they fight that one till they will stop, and after they stop, you bring them together to make peace between them. So you see here, the fight was used to stop the mischief, but also was used as a way to bring peace between people, two groups. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Hujurat. So based on this, when you look at the reason for which you're doing the action, that's what is going to help you to come to a certainty why, of the certainty of the objective that you have, the objective. So there is no interpretation that this objective might change in a later generation, or this objective might change because of the time or because of the society. He comes to a conclusion and he's saying, قال فيستخلص من هذا كله أن المقاصد الشرعية معان حقيقية لها تحقق في الخارج وتلحق بها المعاني الاعتبارية القريبة من الحقيقية. Now, our main conclusion here, when we're talking about the intent of the Sharia, is things are certain, not presumed. Is something are universal. So this maqasid, if we took it to be the spirit of the whole Sharia, must be something that is certain. And that's what the author wants to help us understand and put as a foundation to understanding the meaning and what type of maqsad. When you say this is maqsad of Sharia, then it is maqsad of Sharia. These are the conditions. It comes to what we call al-awham. Al-awham is more like to be deluded, fantasy, more like to imagine as is beneficial for you, but it's not. This need to be analyzed. Anything that need to be first regarded, it is a certain that is going to give you good, or something that been, let's say, fabricated, or maybe be thought that it has a benefit, but in reality it's not. He can give us example. For example, someone, because the thought starts into the way of the thinking, then you realize that is true around you, right? For example, You feel and you believe justice is good. When you implement the justice, you will see the fruit of the justice is peace. The fruit of the justice is people loving each other. The fruit of the justice is cohesion, etc., etc. But if you have something thought in your mind, and then when you implement it, it's not going to give you those results. So this is a wrong way of thinking. But some people, they have believed something inside them, but really in reality it doesn't exist. So those cannot be regarded as a way to treat it or to regard it in the principle of the Sharia. He gives us an example here. He said, people, they imagine or they believe that to stay with a dead person, alone, make you to be scared. That fear, from where it came? What is the reason of this fear? It's tawahum, it's wahm, it's illusion. There's no reason this person is dead. Why you are scared? Because subhanallah, people, they have this illusion that the dead person, it becomes something like scary, like subhanallah, he was, he's your friend, now he's dead. It becomes like so this is tawahum. This is from the type of the wahm. قال وهذا الإدراك مركب من الفعل والانفعال لأن الذهن الواحد نجد في هذا فاعلا ومفاعلا. Find the intellect here, he act and react in the same time. So there is no way to validate what someone was thinking, قال وهي معاني التي تخترعها قوة الخيال. That imagination create this type of feeling or emotion, and it becomes like a reality that people, they believe in it, but this reality actually doesn't exist. So this type of wahm cannot be part of our analysis. You have to remove it because it's not certain. It doesn't have the constancy. Actually, it's not real. It's not real. Then, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال to his prophet, إِنَّكَ عَلَى الْحَقِّ الْمُبِينِ. You are on the clear truth, the true truth. Right? طيب. قال ثم إن استقرينا الشريعة فوجدناها لا تراعي الأوهام والتخيلات وتأمر بنبذها. And when you look at the Sharia doesn't consider illusion or someone's imagination and command to avoid it. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as in Al-Muwatta of Al-Imam Malik, he saw a man holding and guiding a badana. A badana is a camel that is offered as intention to be sacrificed in Al-Haram. So this badana is going to be given as a sadaqah. People, they had this illusion, if this is going to be given as a sadaqah, so it's forbidden to ride it. What is the evidence? So the Prophet ﷺ, he saw a man guiding or holding a badana. فقال له اركبها. Go ahead and mount it, ride it. فقال يا رسول الله إنها بدنة. He said, no, this is badana. It's going to be given as a sacrifice and offered to the haram. فقال اركبها ويلك. Woe to you, ride it. So the Prophet ﷺ here, he's repeating the command to avoid that type of wahm, that illusion that someone had to think that because it's going to be qurban, therefore you cannot even touch it or ride it. You see. فقال يا رسول الله قال اركبها وفي الثانية أو في الثالثة. I mean, he told them, woe to you in the third or the third time. قال وفيه أيضا أن عبد الله بن عمر كفن ابنه واقدا ابن عبد الله حين مات. Abdullah ibn Umar, he كفن, shrine his son, واقد ibn Abdullah, when he died. بالجحفة وهو محرم. He was at the Juhfa and he was in a state of ihram. وقال لولا أننا حرم لطيبناه. If we weren't in a state of ihram, we will have put perfume on him. The التطيب, you know, when someone died, you put fragrance on him, right? So Ibn Umar, he said, if we weren't in a state of ihram, we will have put the tib on him. Which is make what hold them back to not do it, because they are in a state of ihram. So those who saying the one who died in a state of ihram should not have the tib, I said no. The perfume of the tib is forbidden on the one muhram to pour it. But the one who died, he's already out of taklif. قال مالك وإنما يعمل الرجل ما دام حيا. الإمام Malik, he said, the person acts as long as he lives. فإذا مات فقد انقضى العمل. When he died, so he's not responsible for any action. So when the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, the one that he was hit by the camel and he died, أن رجلا وقصته ناقته وهو محرم, and he was in a state of ihram فمات. The Prophet ﷺ قال لا تخمروا وجهه ولا تمسوه بطيب. Do not cover his head and do not touch him or put on him a طيب. فإنه يبعث يوم القيامة ملبيا. So here the hadith, according to Ibn Umar, is like you don't touch someone who died in a state of ihram with the tib, when in reality he's out of taklif. So which is forbidden on you as a muhram to not have to touch the tib. So, and here we have different of interpretation. So I say no, like other scholars say no, because he's in a state of ihram, died on a state of ihram, so you should not put tib. The other scholars say no, it is about you as a muhram, you cannot put tib. And based on this, that we have difference of interpretation, that it cannot be this as a way to have it an objective into Maqasid. So this is what the author wants to specify for us. Islam, he void the at-tabanni. At-tabanni is to have someone adoptive children and to give them their name. Why? Because at-tabanni is amran wahmiyan. Is not a true action. It's not true. I mean, when someone say, this is my son or my daughter, in reality it's not. So it's like, it's an intention, is like more whim to consider this kid is to be your own. It's not. That's why Islam came to avoid this wahm. To adopt an orphan is one of the greatest actions, greatly rewarded. But you see, you need to draw the line. He's not your child. He cannot be inheritor. You can give him wasiyah. He cannot be mahram to your own daughters or to your own wife, because he's not. See? So this is the wahm. When you introduce things that we think it is, when it is not. So Islam teaches that this type of wahm should not be associated with the Sharia at all. قال ومن حق الفقيه مهما لاح له ما يوهم جعل الوهم مدرك حكم شرعي أن يتعمق في التأمل. So the faqih, he has to really deepen his reflection to not fall into such a thing. Because what is related to the ahkam need to be something real, not wahm, not illusion or fantasy. Example. He's given us an example, which is help us to deepen the way of thinking. قال, why is forbidden to wash the shaheed, the one martyr who died? وقول الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم في الشهيد إنه يبعث يوم القيامة ودمه يثعب. The shaheed will come in the day of judgment resurrected and he's still bleeding. And the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the color is the color of the blood, but the smell of it is the smell of the scent of it is the scent of the musk. So based on this hadith, people, they have this interpretation, this thinking of wahm, actually an illusion, that the reason to not wash the martyr, so you can keep his blood for the day of judgment. So when he comes to the day of judgment, the blood will be still coming out. But it's not, because this is wahm. What if someone, by mistake or ignorance, he washed the shaheed? Said, you make him you deprive him from this grant, that favor Allah gave him. So that's what he said. قال لأنه لو غسل جهلا أو نسيانا أو عمدا even أن تنشيل لما بطلت تلك المزية. You're not going to deprive him from this favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ولجعل الله في جرحه دما يثعب شهادة له بين أهل المحشر. Even if you have cleaned all his blood, Allah will make for him a blood, so to be witness for him in the day of resurrection, as an honor for him. ولكن علة النهي. So based on this, it's like kind of an illusion being kind of thought to be the reason of the hukum, the illah of the hukum. So say, why you don't clean or wash the shaheed? Because some people, they can take their dead, relative, and take it to their home, wash it, and give a proper wash, and they think nobody will tell them haram what you have done. So then he said, what is the illah then? What is the reason to not wash the shaheed? It was to preserve his blood. We said no. قال, and this is, subhanallah, when you dig into the contemplation or reflection on the ahadith and on the ilal. قال ولكن علة النهي هي أن الناس في شغل عن التفرغ لغسل موت الجهاد. People are in war, are busy, and you have people dead. If you're going to give a proper ghusl for everyone, you have to burden the whole rest of the army. فلما علم الله ما يحصل من انكسار خواتر أهل الصف حين إصابتهم بالجراح من بقاء جراحتهم ومن دفنهم على تلك الحالة وعلم انكسار خواطر أهليهم وذويهم عوضهم الله تلك المزية الجليلة. So when Allah knew how they're going to be hurt and the families are going to be hurt, so He gave them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, what you're saying is your own. He's going to come to the day of judgment with his blood, with the scent of a musk, and he will intercede for his family. So this is a favor, nothing have to do with the non-washing or washing. فالسبب في الحقيقة معكوس. So the sabab, the reason is in fact is the opposite. It's not what we people, they have an illusion or tawaham, or they thought that it is. So the blood in the day of judgment is actually the favor that you get here for the family, the favor of subhanallah of what they have done. but not preserve the blood so he can have it in the day of judgment. قال وقد تأتي أحكام منوطة بمعان لم نجد لها متأولة إلا أنها أمور وهمية. Also there is ahkam, you cannot find an interpretation for it. And any interpretation you make it might be an illusion. So therefore you should not get into that interpretation. Example, facing the Qibla is a hukum. You hear it and you obey it. But if you want to validate it, justify it, give it a reason, that reason that you're going to give is not going to help you to make another ahkam as a illah, because the reason of the hukum would help you to understand the objective. And that objective, it becomes a spirit in many of other ahkam. So in this here, you should not give an interpretation to validate the hukum when it doesn't have. So whatever validation you're going to give, it's going to be more a wahm than a reality. That's why we call it, that's from the qism al-ta'abbudi, it's from the part of the worship that we call it in the book devotional. Just to tell you where the part that I'm explaining here. Yes, it's page 77. قال, and this umur wahmiya, this thing that it doesn't have a proper reason. I will not say proper reason. It has a wisdom, but we don't know it. So if you don't know it, and it's part of the ta'abbudi, don't force to create a reason. That's wahm. But there's ahkam that the Prophet ﷺ, for example, in certain ahadith, we can use as a parable, but not as a reason. Example, he gave us an example here. قال أيحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا. When someone backbite, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, does anyone to wish to eat the flesh of his brother dead? This is wahm. This is not a reality. Who going to eat the flesh of his brother? But the image make you to desist and to hate backbiting. Someone given a gift, and he want to get back his gift. Is an action where you're going to hurt the one who gave him a gift. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ warned us to do such an action, to not do such an action. He said, قال العاي, or give a sadaqah. Give a sadaqah. In hadith hiba and hadith this narration sadaqah. Someone give a sadaqah and he changed his mind. He want to take it back. He said the one who changed his mind after giving the sadaqah, he want to take it back, is like, I'm sorry, this hadith, like the dog. After vomiting, he want to eat from his vomit. So these are things are wahmiyah. This is not, is a parable. So this will help in fulfilling or in help in having people more toward fulfilling the hukum, the laws, but cannot be used as a reason. So how can be using this, for example, he's saying here. Some people, for example, after backbiting, He said, you broke your fast. Why? Because you ate. He said, I didn't eat anything. No, you ate the flesh of your brother. Allah said it in the Quran. So this is interpretation by Wahab. That's what he's saying. You see, we use it as a parable to reinforce the application of the hukum, but you cannot use it as a true meaning, as a reality, as he's saying here in the end of the page. Otherwise, the case will be like that of someone who would think that a fasting person will break his fast by backbiting against another person because he would have eaten his flesh. Wahmiyat, fantasies, are thus only rarely considered to realize a Sharia objective as a last resort. It might be that what we have mentioned concerning tayammum facing the Qibla stem from this also. He given like examples like the tayammum or facing the Qibla. Those are ta'abbudiyya, but you don't give it an interpretation that make you fall into illusion and fantasies. This is the end of this chapter. If you have any question, if not, we go, inshallah, move to the next chapter. The next chapter, which is very important. Yes, sir. Sure.
Sometimes in Somali culture, for example, we shouldn't hear someone says, "Please, I say, he's my brother."
Yeah.
And I don't mean that the brother in Islam, but it's just that's our culture. He's my sister. It's very common in Somali culture, especially in the south. Is that considered wahab?
No, because when you say brother, it does result on it rulings. For example, the one that you call your brother, he passed away. Will you go to his family, you say, I need my part of inheritance? So this is brother as a society, brothers, yes. Actually, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called the brother prophet to disbelievers, to ungrateful. وَإِلَىٰ عَادٍ أَخَاهُمْ هُودٍ, their brotherhood. وَإِلَىٰ ثَمُودَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحٍ. It's good, continue to do that. It's good, mashallah. But he's a brother in Islam too, right? إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ.
Another one, this talked about those who give sadaqah but they take it back. An analogy of being like a god then.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody else tries to pick another analogy and say, those who pledge sadaqah, in order to fulfill the sadaqah, are they doing waham or are they?
No, this hadith, actually, if someone will take it back, he's not going to be accountable for it. I mean, it's like, and the sadaqah is an obligation. But it's not a good act. So the Prophet ﷺ makes us to see it as something wrong, but it doesn't result into bad deeds or committing deeds, So the waham here, like for example, someone he thinks that he's truly backbiting, he's eating the flesh. Or the truly by taking back the sadaqah, he did that ugly action. But that's to have us, to subhanallah, to help us despise bad action. So when someone will do it, says, I should not do it, that's not good. Even though it's not a sin. Scholars, they say it's not a sin. But it's not good. Yes.
When you mentioned the word ta'abudu, is that like separate from the ayah?
No, there's two ahkam. There's ahkam ta'abudiyya wa ahkam ta'alluli. The law of the Sharia, some of the law we know the reason for which they've been legislated. And other, we don't know. For example, ta'abbudi, the time of the prayer. We don't know the reason why the dhuhr must be prayed as zawir. For the alcohol, we know why it's haram. Allah explained to us the impact and the mischief caused by the alcohol. So the first one we call it ta'abbudi. So it doesn't mean that if we don't understand the reason or the wisdom that we will not do it. No, we do it because Allah said it. And the other one, we do it because Allah said it, but by knowing the wisdom, it helps us to know more. And then to use the same wisdom to widen more the law of the Sharia. When we don't have text specifying new issues appeared in the society. That's where the tools of the ijtihad is this reason or this ilal. So ta'abbudi and ta'alluli, or like the ahkam al-taz'il. It's considered like in this hadith. Yeah, but he's not sinful. It's not a good action that he did, but he's not sinful. Maybe he wants to have everybody else pay. And the other paid or not?
Well, the others paid, but I don't know if he paid back.
Inshallah he paid back. And about the ta'abbudi and ta'alluli, the brother, is in the previous chapter. If you read the book, is analyzed in the previous chapter. طيب. The chapter Chapter 10, page 78. The grounding of Maqasid Al-Sharia is the fitrah. Subhanallah. يقول سبحانه وتعالى فأقم وجهك للدين حنيفا فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها لا تبديل لخلق الله ذلك الدين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying in this ayah, so set your face steadfastly toward the one ever true religion, turning away from all that is false, hanifan, in accordance with the natural disposition which God has instilled into man, fitrat Allah. لا تبديل لخلق الله ذلك الدين الخير. فطر الناس, Allah created His creation on a natural disposition. That's the fitrah, the instinct, the inner nature is the fitrah. When you say things make sense, people they say is logic, is obvious. That's, subhanallah, is the fitrah. Is the fitrah, is the natural disposition of the human being. That's the fitrah. So the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the deen, is in fact embedded and coming out from the fitrah. The deen of Allah, you don't force yourself to accept it. It is spontaneous because it's already within you. يولد المولود على الفطرة. The newborn, he's born on fitrah. In instant, the creation of Allah. The light of Islam is embedded in every human being. So their father, they turn him into whatever faith they follow. Right? قال فأبوا يهودانه أو ينصرانه أو يمجسانه. But he didn't say make them Muslim because he born Muslim. That's what Allah telling us in this ayah. Therefore, the Sharia comes to be built on that natural disposition, doesn't oppose it. It's an extension of that natural disposition, that was instant, that natural feeling. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال فطرة Allah. This is Allah's creation. that He created humankind based on this natural disposition. So قال فأقم وجهك للدين حنيفا فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليه. So the deen, the way that Allah revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, deviated from any deviated way. That's the Hanifa. Opposing any deviated way, because it's the true, right, upright path which corresponds to the natural disposition of the creation of every human being. So it's like the relation between the lock and the key. This deen of Islam is the key of the nature, inner nature of every human being. It flows together. It is the light. It's like there is light inside, and the light of the revelation connect to give life. After giving the analysis of the tafsir of the ayah, he came to a conclusion saying, قال إذا علمت ما بيناه للناس من دلائل الوحدانية. So this is how to understand the ayah. When you know what we have revealed and explained to the humankind from the proofs and evidence of the oneness of Allah and the invalidity of the shirk, therefore turn your face. Turn to the deen of Islam, which is the inner nature. So the nature of a human being is the path of Islam. So that's why when someone follow another path, he's not going to be settled in peace with his own self. That's not possible. So that's what he's saying here in the end of the page. So what is the meaning of the fitrah? قال الخلقة أي النظام الذي أوجده الله في كل مخلوق. الفطرة, the inner nature, is the creation, is the system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created in every creation. Is that guidance. So that natural disposition that someone created with. قال ونفس وما سواها فألهمها فجورها وتقواها. And a soul that he constructed and inspired to it. It's good. وفجورها is wrong. So to know the good and to know the bad, to love the light and to get scared from the dark, to love justice and to hate transgression, to, subhanallah, to appreciate the truth and to hate lying, and so on, from what is natural in the human being. That is the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he given, for example, it comes to the intellect, to the mind, and to the body. The walking of the man is something that is natural in him. You don't see any human being trying to grab things with his leg, with his foot. He do it with his hand. It's natural. It's as natural when you want to grab things with your own hand is as natural to have Islam inside you. That's how natural and spontaneous is the way of life as Allah built it or created in every one of us. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. Just to 1 or 2 minutes just to conclude what we've been doing so we can go to the التحفة العراقية and have the rest of the time inshallah. So we said الفطرة is the essence and the foundation of the Sharia. Is the essence and the foundation, not at the source of the Sharia. But subhanallah, the fitrah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it to be, it is the spontaneous, the natural way that the Sharia was constructed based on it. So the Sharia came to, you have a natural disposition, and the Sharia came to elevate this natural disposition to fulfill the mission that human being was created for. So there is no conflict, there is no antagonism, there is no things like to force it, to understanding or to behave through it. So the Sharia, subhanallah, is like this system that it goes in full coherence with the fitrah. And inshallah, next time we'll go farther and deeper in the understanding of the meaning of the fitrah. But subhanallah, if you ask anyone who came back to the way of Islam, born in Islam, raised in a path different than the Islam, and he came back to the Islam, if you ask him what was the reason that you came to Islam, he simply say, it makes sense, because it is the fitrah, right? So they say it makes sense. Why it makes sense? Because it is the fitrah, it's natural.